VJ seeing one of the big storylines from the first 2 rounds, the first 36 holes on his home course. He had been cooking on Thursday and Friday, runs into trouble on 17 on Saturday.
There are very few days of the last 15 years when he has not been at a tour event where he has not been on the golf course at TPC Sawgrass. Began day 3, 2 back, had to share the lead at one point during round 2. And this was really the end of an unfolding. At this point, he was already out of contention. That was his first. He elects to take his 3rd shot from a drop zone, which has probably been the less of the 2 likely opportunities. Most guys have just re-hit from the tee shot, which is a full 9-iron. That's a mixed shot. He's out of contention. It was a valiant effort. It was nice for 2 days. Sergio Garcia, the opposite, guy who had a setback on day 2. He played well, had one of the best rounds of anybody on day 3. Also here on 16, by the way, Garcia at 5 under for the day, 5 under for the tournament, 4 back. Oosthuizen was a guy who started 9 under for the day. That was a lip-out eagle attempt, would settle for birdie, and would post 8 under, 1 back of the co-leaders. One of them is JB Holmes. We'll get to the other guy in a second. Here's another birdie make from JB Holmes, who played, unlike most players, tried to overpower a golf course that usually it bites you. However, pars the first 10 holes, only has 1 bogey in the back 9. He was a swashbuckler. It was a hole where he hit a tee shot on 14 in the water. Here's his tee shot on 17. By the way, he's in the penultimate group, second to last group, and I can promise you it's not the best ball tee shot still to come in this round. That's foreshadowing to this man, Kyle Stanley, playing with tied for the lead after 2 days. Played very well. Missed 1 fairway today, Tyler. That will usually get you in decent position. Shoots an even par 72 thanks to this birdie. He's birdied the island par 3 all 3 days.
Wow.
It's only happened once in its history. Paul Azinger, he did not win the year he did. JB Holmes on 18. Big putt there, because I do think the standing of where you are in the pairings for Sunday matters. That gets him in at 9, while Stanley and Oosthuizen were in the fairway. Oosthuizen made a good par save himself before Stanley, so he would have been in the last group if that didn't fall. So Stanley and Holmes will play in the final group. You'll have twosomes, late tee-offs. Golf course will still be windy. It's been a theme all week. The score is much more difficult this week. Course has been a little bit firmer, but you have a lot of guys still in the mix. I think that there's 2 schools of thought here. Do you think this is down to Holmes, Stanley, and Oosthuizen, where you're not seeing a lot of scores 66, 67, 68, which it's difficult to catch guys? I mean, obviously you can rule out the guys T20 that are superstars, and Dane McIlroy being 8 back, but Sergio Garcia's 4 back. Ian Poulter's 3 back after a glitch in the FedEx Cup standings that Andy Pazder, an executive of the tour, said, we're going to apply FedEx Cup points from 2014 when your major medical started. So 15 days ago, he not only wasn't in the Players' Championship, wasn't a PGA Tour member, now he's making the most of it. Poulter, I think, is in a better position than Garcia. Oosthuizen is my pick to win this tournament, as we talked about, and we'll talk about more. Even though there are different credentials of all these guys, everybody here has won on the PGA Tour.
And we call this the unofficial 5th major on the tour, outside of the U.S. Open, the Open Championship, the PGA, and the Masters, of course. $1.8 million to the winner of this tournament.
Yeah,
Scotty,
$11 million.
This is a big deal.
This is the flagship event for the PGA Tour, who carries the most money of any of the organizations. Well, I don't know about Augusta. You could just say, hey, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. But in terms of on the books, I mean, the amount of money they have in reserves, if they needed it to be a $15 million purse, they would do it. They pull no expense, no exemption, no restrictions. This is their crown jewel. The beauty of the PGA Tour here is maybe 10 years ago, they still had a chip on their shoulder wanting it to be the 5th major. They're at peace with the idea that it's out of their control. They've made this tournament what it is. It's something different and still as special of itself on its own.
All right, we'll keep our eye on round 4, which begins in earnest on Sunday afternoon. Louis Oosthuizen, Scotty's pick, one off the lead of Kyle Stanley and JB Holmes at 9 under par.